let's go over what transpired in the last edition of Storytime with Grimmodo. Baldur has nightmares. Everyone's concerned. Odin goes to hell and talks to some ghost. The ghost says Baldur's going to die. That's about it. So, Odin gets back to Asgard. And he tells everybody what he had learned from the seeress. As some of you may remember, she is called a vulva. I know I have at least one friend who laughs like a little kid every single time I say that. So, that was for her. So everyone's extremely concerned. They know that Baldur's about to die. Well, they don't know when, they don't know how, but that it is impending. So they start thinking, well, let's just list all the things that could possibly kill beloved Baldur. And so they start making a list. They name fire, all the metal things, all the illnesses, all the weather-related things. Every single thing they can think of goes onto this giant list. And Frigg, Odin's wife and mother to Baldur, says, I am going to go around the world and I am going to ask everything to take an oath to do no harm to my beloved Baldur. And everyone thinks, oh, that's a great idea. Of course, that's sure to work. And so Frigg does exactly as she states. She goes around the world. She talks to all the rocks, the trees, the people, the monsters, the dark elves, the giants. They all take a vow not to hurt, dear old Baldur. Wonderful, kind Baldur who has never hurt anybody. So she gets home and she tells everybody, well, job's done, he should be okay. Everyone's very pleased with the efforts that Frigg made, and they start to rejoice and go back to their life as it was. However, someone starts wondering, well, how do we truly know it worked? I mean, true, he's not dead now, but who is to say how he was going to die and when? Perhaps we should put a test to Frigg's efforts by, I don't know, picking up this rock. And they throw the rock at Baldur, and whatever force that pebble once held from that throw, it withheld it. Baldur turns and says, wow, I did not feel a thing. Absolutely nothing. And so they all rejoice. Baldur's okay. That little pebble kind of proved it. And they go about their lives again. A couple days later, they're all partying, and one god decides, you know what, let's try again. Let's make sure maybe it's still not, make sure it's still working. And so he throws a larger rock, which leads to a boulder, which leads to an axe. Suddenly, everybody's playing a game. They're all putting Baldur up to the wall and taking turns throwing dangerous objects, darts with points, spears, flaming brands. They're sneezing on him, see if he gets sick. Everything they can think of. And they're all having a party. Everyone's laughing, except one. And a shiny nickel to the person who can guess who. Huh? Yes, Loki. Loki is not pleased. Loki decides, this isn't fun. Everyone's happy except me, so I'm going to get out of here. This place sucks. And so he leaves, and he wanders around Asgard and discovers Frigg sitting in her hall. And he starts to question, could she have possibly skipped something? So Loki mutters a few charms to himself and suddenly changes into the guise of an old woman. The old woman wanders into the hall loudly and clumsily like a blind old woman. And she says, where am I? I have no idea where I am. Could somebody please tell me where I am? Frigg greets her guest, as she often does, politely and like a queen, because that's what she is. Elegant, queenly. Well, she says, welcome, you are in my hall. I am Frigg. You are in Asgard. And so, the old lady responds, what? How could I have made it into Asgard? Surely, such a loud and boisterous place could not be the home of the gods. And Frigg is noticeably confused. What do you mean? Of course this is Asgard. And the old lady says, but just a little while ago I heard such a racket. They were stoning a man. Who would have thought that that kind of thing would happen here? Suddenly Frigg realizes what she is referring to. Oh, that was not a stoning. That was a host of gods, and they were not stoning a man. That young man was my son. That was Balder, and they were playing a game, only a game. Well, surely it's not a game. I would wager that he is surely dead by now. No, my dear lady. Well, I assure you, Balder is quite safe. You see, I have taken an oath from every creature, object, and element within creation, and he is quite safe. Every object has vowed not to do no harm to my son. Everything, you say? Yes, everything. By now, Frigg is becoming a little annoyed with the constant badgering of the old lady. So Frigg turns to the old lady and says, yes, my dear, everything. Well, there was this one thing. Oh, the old lady says. Yes, it was the mistletoe. It's just a small, very young plant that could not have harmed anybody. Surely something so young couldn't have done harm to my dear Balder. Oh, the mistletoe, huh? The old lady replies. Well, that is very interesting, but I should be going now, I suppose. Thank you for the tea. And so the old lady rises and exits the hall, wanders down the path, mutters a few charms when she is out of sight, and resumes the shape of Loki. Now Loki cackles and crows and laughs and jumps and hollers and is incredibly happy with himself for his trick. And he suddenly decides to go over and wander the hills around Valhalla looking for the mistletoe. As he does, he finds a little sprig. Loki takes the sprig of mistletoe, strips it of its little branches and berries, and he finds the straightest of the branches, the strongest, the firmest, and wanders back into the hall. He sneaks in, noticing that his absence as well as his reemergence has gone unnoticed. At the same time, he notices that Frigg has finally joined them at the party. Loki scans the hall, everyone's rejoicing, Balder is still on the wall, still being pummeled with objects, but no harm is being done. But off in the corner is poor Hod, the blind god sitting in the corner, keeping to himself because apparently there's no fun for him in that hall. Loki wanders over, sidles up next to Hod, and pokes him in the ribs. Only Loki would be such a jerk as to poke me in the ribs. How are you, my dear Hod? Why are you not playing with the others? Surely you would like to join in on the fun and games, would you not? Well, I can't join in. Can't you see? I'm blind. There's no way I could join in. Perhaps I could help you. I could serve as your eyes. You would still be throwing and therefore participating. I would gladly render my assistance in aiming. Here, stand up and take this, little stick. So Hod, with the mistletoe firm in hand and Loki serving as his eyes, he reaches back and then throws the stick towards his brother. Like an arrow shot, it goes straight through Balder's chest, landing on the ground, leaving Balder dead. Now, as quickly as Balder fell, so did the silence in the hall. Everyone was shocked. Surely that did not just happen. How could Balder be dead? Everything took an oath. He was safe. There was no way he could be harmed. Everyone turns and they look and see Hod standing there, smiling, unaware that he has caused the death of his dear brother. And Loki, looking guilty, slinks out of the hall. And as he does, the first of the tears drop. First one goddess cries, then they all wail, tears streaming down their cheeks. Frigg is the first to speak up. My dear son Balder, he is dead. Surely someone can help. Someone, please. A ransom. Someone, please. Go down to hell and offer her a ransom for my dear son. Offer her a ransom so that I can have Balder back. They all look around, tears still running, streaming down their faces. But one stands forward, and it's Hermod, another son of Odin, brother of Balder. And he declares, I will go down to hell and ask her for his release. Everyone applauds his bravery. And Odin steps forward and calls for his servants. And as they all gather to congratulate him and wish him luck on his journey, Sleipnir is brought out. Sleipnir, Odin's eight-legged horse, his trusty steed. And he lends him to Hermod for his journey. I do hope you have enjoyed this section of the story.